Hey everyone, welcome back to Rink's Rentals. We have Matt the Mortgage Guy on today out of Sacramento, but he works all over the country. So I wanted to bring him on to tell you guys what he can do for you. Welcome aboard, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. I really appreciate it, man. And yeah, talking lending is something I do all day, every day.
Awesome. Well, Matt, introduce yourself and what you have going before we get into some of the interesting things you can do to help the new investor.
For sure. So, mortgage broker, just past 10 years, I think February 1st, 2014, was my first, like when I officially got licensed as a mortgage lender. Spent 4.5 years in the retail space. And then 2018 became a mortgage broker. And so over the last 6 years, I've closed hundreds of millions of dollars in mortgage loans. As recent as 2021, joined U Mortgage as a founding partner. And really, the reason I joined it is because, shout out to Matt the Mortgage Guy YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, go check it out. Through that channel, I had built a nationwide audience of people that wanted to work with me who were in Florida and Tennessee and Texas and all over the country. And so I knew I wanted to help as many people as possible. It's the whole idea of creating a channel and putting out content and educational type focus that I had. And so joined U Mortgage in 2021. We continued to add licensing, and now I'm licensed in 48 states. And so residential mortgage financing, 1 to 4 unit stuff. It's what I do all day, every day. And I think that I like to pride myself in that I'm really focused on that one lane. I'm not trying to do commercial lending. I'm not trying to do SBA loans. And I've got, other friends who are like, oh, I also run an insurance agency. Mortgage all day, every day. I do have an affection for investors because I'm a real estate investor myself, and I love real estate. So whether it's the ORAC community, Bigger Pockets, any investors that come to me, I love to talk investment real estate. And I think that as an investor myself, I can see lending through their eyes and talk through the best ways to structure loans for investors. Although it is fun to help someone buy their first house and help people buy primaries as well. But that's me in a nutshell. I'm a proud father of two boys. I can't believe they're 15 and 11. They grow so friggin' fast, man. And my beautiful wife, Katrina, who supported me through this whole crazy journey. Fun, quick little story. In 2014, I was working for the state of California. And I remember my dad always preaching like, that's the epitome of security, right? Is a job with the state. You've got retirement, you've got your health coverage and all that. And had my second kid in 2013, and then decided like finance for the state is not for me. I can't do it. I can't sit in a cubicle and look at spreadsheets. I've got to go chase passions, which require me, talking and helping people and working with numbers because I'm a math nerd. And so in 2014, when I decided to go all in on mortgage, I literally burned the boats and, quit the safe, secure state job to go out and work 100% commission as a mortgage lender. And I just had my second kid. So yeah, that's my not so quick rundown of who the heck is Matt Gouget, Matt the Mortgage Guy.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't even know that story. Yeah, you just threw yourself in there and it had to work. Like
Exactly.
so,
Yeah.
but tell us a little bit because you've built out a lot. I mean, I followed you for about 3 or 4 years now, probably about 3 years, and you have people all over the country working on your team now, right? So how did you build out mortgage lenders all over the country?
Yeah, you know what's the fun story about that? I think this relates to like anybody who's a business owner, anybody who's doing anything. Like you try things and you lean into and continue to do things that work, and you stop doing the things that don't. And so I would be lying if I was like, oh man, so easy. I just had this plan. I executed the plan flawlessly, and here we are. Because in 2021, when I joined, my first like goal was I want to serve these clients. I know I can't do it on my own. I can't like take 100 phone calls a day and close all the loans in Indiana and Texas and Tennessee and whatnot. And so what I told U Mortgage, and I've got a close relationship with the CEO and was literally like loan officer number 9 and a founding partner, is I don't want any compensation. I just want to make sure that you get back to people in a timely fashion and they get great service. So match them to whoever we've got in whatever state that they're looking, and make sure that that they're taken care of. And I had to protect my reputation. And so it was interesting in that when I first joined, I didn't even look at, all I knew was like, if I got somebody that came to me and was like, hey, Matt, you kind of let me down. I reached out to you and your team, and it wasn't a great experience. Like, that was my only filter for figuring out like if people were taken care of or not. Now, fast forward 3 years, I'm plugged into this U Mortgage Plus branch. It's a branch of U Mortgage where I'm a little bit closer to the loans and the loan officers that are serving these clients. And so I love it where literally somebody goes to greatmortgagebroker.com, fills out a form, tells us where they're at, what they're looking to do. I've got a list, and I've got at least 2 or 3 loan officers in every state, and I can say, hey, you're an investor. You're looking for a 2 to 4 unit in this price range. Like, here's a great loan officer for you. And then somebody on my team is literally following up with the loan officer on my behalf to say, these are my people. I spent a decade educating, serving, and connecting with these people online. Let's make sure they get taken care of. And so it's great, man. I'm really fortunate to be in the position I'm in, where a lot of people like me and trust me enough to reach out and want to, take out a mortgage loan, get pre-approved, whatever the case may be. And so I take that seriously. And I've got Connor, who's in my office, who's got like 8 to 10 states that he handles. Bo has another 8 to 10 states. And then the rest of them are kind of spread out. But so far, man, like when I was in Vegas at the ORAD event, I had a lot of people come to me, oh, I worked with Sam. I just closed a place in Alabama. I worked with Kyle Kohler and I closed a place in Colorado. All the stories have been positive, which is great. And I tell people, if it's not a great experience, I want to hear, because I'm all about like honest feedback, because that's how we get better. And there have been cases where somehow or another something got dropped, but we resolved quickly. And so, yeah, here we are, man, serving people in 48 states, having a ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I was really curious on how you pulled it off, because I mean, you're putting your name out there when you're recommending people all over the country. So there had to be a system to filter out brokers or mortgage providers that are going to do a good job for you.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And actually, what's funny is taking it back before the U Mortgage jump, where like now it's all under the same umbrella. My company handles all of the people that come in, and it's a U Mortgage loan officer in different states. Before that, I was plugged in with the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, which is the big broker organization that serves brokers across the country from a bunch of different companies. When I didn't have the ability to, keep it all under one house like it is now, I went to them and said the same thing. I just want to make sure that these people get in the hands of good quality loan officers that will take care of them. And so I was literally referring out, especially like 2020, people were filling out 250 forms a month. Like, a lot of people were reaching out. And I know that the broker channel is the best place to get a mortgage, where you can do it, cheaper, faster, and easier. So it was like being dispersed to mortgage brokers across the country, and AIM as an organization kind of helped me make sure, like, yeah, these are quality vetted mortgage brokers that will take great care of clients.
yeah, and I mean, I actually did have communication with you. Like, what brought me to you was Michael Zuber, but I called you about a loan and you told me it wasn't good. You probably don't even remember that, but you're like, this is not good. So you're not going to just do loans just to do loans. If it doesn't make sense for the borrower, you're going to tell them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've probably told people no as much as I've told them yes, which, ultimately, like, that's the goal. You serve and educate people. Some are going to fit, some are going to be loans that move forward. Some are going to be with us. Others are going to be like, hey, that builder offering that great incentive is something you have to take. I literally had that phone call yesterday where the guy couldn't understand me telling him, like, yeah, you're going to run into some new build developments where, like, you have to use the builder's lender. They've got it structured in a way where they're offering an incentive to work with their lender that is going to be light years better than anything I can offer or anyone else can offer. And if somebody tells you different, they're lying.
Yeah.
And so, take that, get that, that great incentive, whether it's closing credit or interest rate incentive, and call me in 2 years when you're looking to refinance, or
Oh,
tell your aunt to give me a call, because it's a guy who gave you some great advice. And really, Paul, like, that's the cool part, is it all comes back. Like,
yeah.
for every person I say, no, this doesn't make sense, hold off, who, generally speaking, someone talks to a salesperson, they're expecting to be sold. When I give them the non-salesy pitch of like, here's what I think is best for you, they think of me when their cousin is talking about buying a house, and they're like, oh, give Matt a call. He'll give you honest advice. I know it because he gave honest advice to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's jump into what I'm extremely passionate about, and my channel's really focused around for the most part. And let's talk about this 2 to 4 unit, 5% down conventional loan.
Okay. Yeah. You know what's funny is like, there was so much buzz around this product, and it was gonna be, it's funny, marketing terms, right? Like, game changer. The truth of the matter is, like, while this does help some people, and some people are gonna be like, this is the best product by far, it doesn't work for as wide of an audience as I thought it would. One of the reasons being, I literally reached out to UWM, the largest wholesale lender in the country, and I said, like, are you guys writing a lot of these? I'm not coming across as many as I thought I would. And, I'm a mortgage broker who focuses on investors. And what they told me is, based on the automated underwriting system, which, for anybody who's not familiar, like, you plug in all the information, and you've got credit score, you've got debt to income, you've got, the property type, and all the information in there. And then that automated underwriting system, AUS, kicks back, approve eligible. Yes, this loan can be sold to Fannie and Freddie. Those guidelines, or the parameters that are set inside of there, are so strict. The UWM told me people are getting denied that are relatively strong buyers, but they don't have months of reserves. They don't have,
Yeah.
sub 40% DTI. And so if you're a really, really strong buyer, this might be it for you. If you're not, and don't be embarrassed if you don't have 12 months of reserves and you don't have a 780 plus credit score, but it might just be that the old reliable FHA 2 to 4 unit, 3.5% down might be the play for you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've seen is disqualifying people is that reserves.
Yeah.
I mean, and it makes sense because you're taking you're taking on responsibility for a tenant now, another property, the other side, the other unit, 2 units, 3 units. So that really makes sense to have those reserves.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, is a lot of lending guidelines, people are upset, and they take offense to it sometimes, where it's great that there's somebody who's protecting you and saying, you know what, like, I know what it's like. I've got 2 fourplexes in, probably a C plus neighborhood. Stuff's going to go wrong,
Yeah.
and you're going to have vacancy. And so having some months of reserves is something that's great. But, generally speaking, a newer investor, somebody who's like, oh, great, I can buy something that's, in the $300,000 price range with 5% down, like, that's attainable for me. They don't have 100 grand in the bank.
Yeah.
Right. And so to think about having 6, 12 months reserves, you're right. I would imagine that would disqualify quite a few people.
Yeah, I felt like in our community, we really thought this was gonna like blow everything up and take away, it wasn't fixing the supply problem. It was killing the demand, it was just driving demand, but it really didn't drive much more demand.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's it on paper, it was poised to make a huge impact. And I think that I saw the same thing. And I was so surprised that I reached out to a lender to hear it straight from the source, a
yeah.
lender that does 200 billion in volume per year. I'm like, are you guys doing these? And like, they're just not calling me, or they're like, no, it's just, not as many are being written because it's extra stringent when it comes to the underwrite of it.
Yeah, and the upside with, it being a conventional loan was difference between the conventional and FHA. you could usually get into a property that needs a little bit of work still with conventional. FHA is just so much more strict on what they want condition wise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. They want no health and safety issues, and
yeah,
dry rot's not their thing, but you know, I I think they're not as big of sticklers as some people make it out to be. I recall recently this buyer was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a conventional buyer on this property because X and Y issue." And then the appraisal comes back and it's like, we need all the same stuff fixed that we probably would have ran into with the FHA. Like,
wow,
conventional doesn't mean you can have holes in the roof and
right,
not be able to get a 2-year roof cert. Like, they still want the house to be standing a year from now on conventional as well.
gotcha. Yeah, so stepping back from the house hacking, what can you really help this new investor with? A lot of the mortgage brokers are just going to throw somebody in whatever loan that makes it best for them. What do you do to really help that new investor get their first rental?
You know what I think we do, and I try to do more than others, is if it was as easy as plugging your data into a form and saying, yes, you qualify, here's a letter, best of luck to you. If it was that easy, like, there would be no need for mortgage brokers. And I continue to tell like colleagues and loan officers that work for me or with me, like, that's why we exist. So lean into that, lean into the advice part of it, lean into being a true advisor. And so in order to advise, I literally just made a new purchase goals questionnaire. And on my Google form, Paul, like, the top is that God, what movie is it? It's Help Me Help You.
I
Uh
don't know.
gosh, it's I think it's Tom Cruise and it's like a football movie. And he's like, help me help you. But for investors, like, help me help you. Tell me as much as possible. What are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? What does a roadmap for you look like, whether it's 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out? And then, like, we're also going to dig into the application, credit score, total amount that you have for down payment. But, if you continue to search deeper and deeper and deeper, there's like the snapshot of what it looks like today, but then there's like, what's the plan for future capital requirements and the next property and the property after that. And like, I want to help people develop their real estate investing plan, not just qualify them for what's in front of them. And like, surprisingly for me, and you might not be as surprised, or anybody who's talked to a large number of investors, most investors I talk to have no idea what they're going to do. No
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And so I think digging that conversation out of them, whether they work with us or not, whether they buy a property this month, next year, like, having them at least start to put some thought into, well, I guess I never thought about it. What are my goals? Like, do I care about cash flow? Am I trying to, build equity and net worth? And a lot of them too, it's fun, casual conversations that are going to, one, help them narrow down what the heck they're trying to accomplish. And two, show them some of the examples, because in my seat, the cool part is I've seen a ton of different people do it a ton of different ways. I've seen people accumulate 35 rentals that all spit off $300 a month, and they've got $10,000 in cash flow. And that's exactly what they set out to do and what they're trying to accomplish. I've got other people who are breaking even on $6 million worth of California real estate, which has gone up in value 2.5 million over the last 6 years. And so their thing is like, I don't need cash flow. I'm, an engineer who makes $400,000 a year. But when I decide to hang up my engineer hat, I'm going to have 4 million in equity that I can sell, 1031 exchange, buy an apartment complex, buy a commercial building with, a triple net lease that pays me $25,000 a month in my sleep, whatever the case may be. Like, those are way different goals, way different scenarios. And some people, quite honestly, Paul, they just don't know what they want.
Yep.
And that's okay. In order to figure out what you want, you got to open up, a conversation and start talking about it and thinking through it. And I think so, like, that is something that I really enjoy digging out of people. because one, I get to live vicariously and it's exciting for me, right? Like when I hear in their voice, like the light bulb going off and then being like, oh my gosh, I haven't even thought about this. But
Yeah.
like most working people who have a W-2 job are like, I know real estate's going to help supplement my retirement. I've heard real estate's a good investment. You start putting numbers to it and start doing some calculations like, oh my gosh, like I can add an extra $8,000 a month to my retirement income. I could generate millions in net worth through just owning a handful of properties. Like that stuff, when they start to see it, they can't unsee it, and it's exciting.
Yeah, that it's awesome to see that aha moment when they really like it clicks in their head. They're like, "Oh, now I get it." So,
This is why everyone's so excited about real
yeah.
estate.
Yeah, and what I really like, and I want to stress to anybody that's, looking to work with you or anybody else, is if you're investing, what I love about you is you're investing as well. You're not just a broker that's writing loans. You're also investing. So you have that mindset that you've been, doing this for a while. It really helps. So,
Yeah, for sure. Eating my own dog food.
yeah. So, Matt, if my audience wants to reach out to you or anybody on your team, how do they do that?
Easy peasy. And like I said, like we've been refining this for years. If you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, people know exactly why they're there. We're not going to fool you with, fancy marketing or anything. Like you want to connect Matt and his team, go to greatmortgagebroker.com. You fill out a form, and I think it's name, email, phone, what market you're in, what price point, what your guesstimated credit score is, how much you make a year, how much you're looking to put down, basic things so that we can match you with somebody who's in that market. One, licensed to do business there, but also, like I talked about, we've got really great mortgage brokers across the country that can help you and walk alongside you as an investor. And so, yeah, greatmortgagebroker.com.
Awesome. And final question. I know you're busy, so I don't know how much YouTube or podcast you watch, but what would be like the favorite YouTube or podcast that you are watching right now that's just piquing your interest?
Oh man, so many are good. My sons are really into basketball, and I've been
Okay.
a lifelong Sacramento Kings fan. Um, Something about JJ Redick and like just how he talks about basketball and the passion he's got behind it. So I love what he's got going on. Quite honestly, I'm not a big LeBron fan, but him and LeBron have a new podcast, which is pretty good. And then Chamath Palihapitiya and his band of buddies, the All
Oh,
In podcast.
yes.
I love that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. I usually try to get at least half of that one, and I barely ever get through all of it. They're
Yeah.
usually
I
pretty long.
actually, yeah, I had a little bit of a road trip to the Bay Area where I got to get in like a full length one on the way out and a full length one on the way back. And so the last 2 weeks I caught the whole thing, and yeah, those are great.
Yeah. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Paul. It was great talking to you, brother.
You too.